Hey, welcome back to another edition of the RPO College Football Podcast, your favorite college football podcast. My name is Jerome Jones, and I'm here with the man and Mr. Legend. You already know who he is, though. Mr. Ray Rogers. How are you doing?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
I'm good, man. I am excited to be back. Glad to be back on here, man. Talking some defensive players, because we're getting closer to DBs, man. We're going to be talking about DBs next week, but we're getting closer to that. I'm excited about it. But before we go on, right, I do want to say, give a big thanks to our sponsor, Phenom Elite. You guys already know I talk about Phenom Elite on every one of our podcasts. It's some great stuff. And I got a little surprise for you, right? Because I know you were talking about, like, you was asking, hey, what's Phenom? What's Phenom do? And what they have. So I got some products right here to show you. So as you see right here, they have some really cool mouthpieces. As you see right there, mouthpieces right there. You got some really cool football gloves. You got the red right here. You got the blue right here. You got the gray. It's one of my favorite. I actually like the gray. I'm actually my favorite color is blue, but I love the gray. But special ones just like this, like the Kool-Aid flavored ones, and they got different type of flavored Kool-Aid types of gloves. So, guys, if you see what you like, go to phenomelitebrand.com where you get all of that stuff. And since you're so close and so nice and so loving people to watch us every week and follow us, make sure you use that promo code right up there, ICH Football, and we're going to especially give you 10% off. That's going to save you some money. So you're going to save money and you get some good gear. So when that football season come in, you're gonna be looking clean, looking good, and look good, feel good, play good. Who said that, right?
Yeah, I realized already why you like the gray, dude. Because they could go with Eagles gear.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. So if you like football gear, go in there. They also have other things as well, like cleats, baseball, all that as well. So go on phenomelitebrand.com. Use our promo code ICH Football, get 10% off, and that definitely helps us and support us. So you want to help and support us, that's definitely one way. We also have donations online on our website. I don't usually ask for it, but we do have that online too. So if you want to make a donation too, you can go on our website, insidetheaction.com, and do a donation as well. But thank you guys for listening to that. Thank you, Phenom, for allowing us to have this podcast. And let's get it, Ray. We're talking about linebackers today. Interior linebackers, obviously, we did edge rushers and defensive line last week. So, Ray, what's your thoughts on the linebacker position in college football right now?
Is there a linebacker position in college football right now?
Barely.
I mean, honestly, like there are so few true, real middle linebackers anymore. It's like the fullback in offense. It's just almost like a dying position. There are a couple, and you kind of need one. That's the problem. You only need one, really. Yeah. You need one on first and second down sometimes, and then everything else is passing down, so it's fine.
Correct. No, I agree. This list was definitely hard to do, man. I was really digging into this list. So I feel like there's the number one guy, and then there's everybody else. And I feel like everybody else. I don't mean they're bad, but they're in that same category, in my opinion.
No, I agree that. See, I've based my linebacker position on production, and I mean, guys that played well last year. But again, there's only one of the five guys that I hear. Actually, I have two sleepers this week, so I have 7 guys here. 3 of them probably could play a linebacker role in the first and second down as a run stopper. But most of these guys are going to drop in coverage. So really, that's where they're going to make their bread and butter. If you're an every down linebacker, you're a guy that can blitz a quarterback. You're a guy that can drop in coverage, and you're a guy that can tackle when needed. That's your job now.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So we'll get right into it, man, because again, I think this is a very interesting list right here. But let's get right into our top 5 linebackers. And as I pull my graphic up because I got the one from last night on. Again, thanks for being on, by the way, Ray. Listening to the jibber jabber last night. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we have the First and Foremost podcast on Tuesday night. We talk high school football and we talk some basketball as well. So if you love basketball, you love high school football, go check that out on Tuesday night. We talk all that, and it's a really fun time. But let's get right into it. Our top 5 linebackers of 2024. Ready to start with your number 5.
I have Francisco Malgo from Miami at number 5.
Nice.
Here's a guy who 82 tackles last year, 7.5 sacks. So he is the guy that can tackle, can get to the quarterback. In Miami, they do not ask him to cover a lot, but he has done some in the flat, tight ends, running backs. But he's a productive player, and he's stout. He's 6'3", 230. So he'll play in the NFL. I just don't know what role he'll play, if he'll be a blitzer or if he'll be a guy who will drop back in coverage. Because, again, Miami doesn't ask him to do it a lot, but he has showed signs that he can do it.
Yeah, I actually don't have him in my top 5, Ray. I think I had him in my top 10 if I was going to make a top 10.
Yeah, I think Jerome, our linebackers list are probably going to be very different.
I agree, and it's a lot of very subjective, because I think that there's all different types of linebackers that you kind of we both kind of probably look at different type of linebackers. And
not only that, I will tell you that at least one of these guys that I have here as in my top 5 probably will not be drafted overly high in the NFL, but he was such a productive player in college. I had to put him in there, for me.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let me get to my number 5 guy, and this is going to be a 50-yard senior. Let me double check that real quick because I want to make sure he didn't come out. Double checking. I got Jay Wiggins, right? 6'2", 230 pounds. Yes, he is going to be a 50-year senior. I had to make sure, because sometimes, these kids, come out of college, and I didn't realize it. So, yeah, Jay Higgins is going to be a 50-year senior. Very productive linebacker there in Iowa. I really do like Iowa defense. They usually do produce some guys. Last year he had 79 tackles, 2 sacks, forced fumble, fumble recovery, and an interception. So not a, oh my goodness, he had so many tackles type of guy, because he only had 79 solo. He did have 171 total, so some of them are assists as well. So, Ray, what do you look at more, the total or the solos?
I mean, I will look in totality, but yeah. The solo tackles means he got the play done himself.
Correct.
Some linebackers need help more than other linebackers, so I think I would put more in the solo tackles. But if you help out, you help out. So
yeah. So if you look at the solo tackles, he has 171. So that's a lot.
Again, and I like Jay Higgins. I do think that he's a 2-down linebacker at the next level, though. I don't think he's going to play more than that. So
right. And like you said, it's going to be a lot of guys kind of like this where they're only going to be playing 2-down linebackers. It's the nature of linebackers now, man. I'm not going to say they're a dying breed, but they're a breed that's really, really, right. So. But I really do like him. I will always have a tough-nosed defense, and he's definitely a leader over there. Coming in for his 5th year, I highly expect him to replicate what he did last year. Because last year was, it was kind of an outlier in his season. He wasn't as productive his sophomore year. His junior year. But he had a really breakout year last year, and I think that he can do close to the same, or if not a little bit more this year.
Again, if I'd extended my list 6 or 7, I'd have had him in there. But he does play. He's a true middle linebacker at Iowa, and he is a tackle. He's a tackling machine.
Correct.
But that's really you don't see him do anything in coverage. So we'll see.
Definitely. 100%. All right, number 4 for you, right? Who you got?
Number 4, I had Nicholas Martin from Oklahoma State. He's a guy who's productive is really crazy. He's 83 solo tackles, 140 total tackles, 16. Here's notice that tackles for loss, 16 tackles for loss, and 6 sacks and 2 picks. So the kid is crazy productive, but he is a hybrid. He's 215, plays outside linebacker, plays some slot, plays against tight end, and he does a little bit of everything for Oklahoma State, but he's a really, really productive player. So,
yeah, I think that's the reason why I don't have him here. I see him more of like a nickel safety.
He is that he could be a hybrid safety linebacker mix. Again, you watch him play, man. He's a jitterbug. He's all over the field. He excites me watching him play. So, I mean, I would love it if he could bulk up to 225 and still do all of that. It would be better.
Yeah.
He's only 6 foot, so he's definitely not going to play anywhere but weak side linebacker, I don't think. But he's very productive. So,
100%. All right, my number 4 guy, Ray, you know him pretty well, Jack Keiser from Notre Dame. I like the production, man. I think he still have a lot to kind of put out there. He's another guy that's going to be a 5th-year senior. I think his first year, I think his first year is a red shirt. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Ray. But with those linebackers that they had last year, he was one of those guys that kind of was behind the scenes with those guys, and he showed a lot of promise with I forgot their names. JD Barner. Yeah, JD Barner. You had Marcus over there as well. So, he didn't get the big opportunities, but when he was on the field, he was very productive, right? Larry, I'll let you talk about him, and I'm sure you probably don't have him in your top 5 because I go a little bit more projection and what I think how they're gonna do later on in their season. I mean, later on. But what's your thoughts on him?
I like Jack Keiser. He does a little bit of Notre Dame for everything for Notre Dame. He tackles. He's a good productive player. He can cover a little bit. I mean, I don't have him in my top 5. Again, if I went to 10, I may have him in there somewhere. He gets nicked up a little bit though, man. That's my only thing about him. He does miss a couple games here and there, and when you can tell when he's not feeling right because he's not as productive. So
yeah, you're right, Ray. He only played 13 games last year, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good player, but again, like I worry about guys that can't stay healthy. And this is the second year in a row he was unable to finish the season. So,
100%. No, you're right about that. So if he can stay healthy, I think he's going to be a good player. So.
Yeah, he's a very good player, and the production is there when he's on the field.
Yeah, got to stay on the field. Best ability is availability. So.
Yes.
All right, let's get to your number. We at 3.
Number 3, I had Power Equals from North Carolina. Again, 60 solo tackles, 42 assists, 9 TFLs. Kid is really productive now. Some people will argue, yeah, he's productive. He's like one of the only few players on a bad defense. And I get that. But he's productive on a bad defense. So,
Yeah, I agree with that notion a little bit of what everybody else is saying. I actually was struggling. I almost put him in my top 5 though. I think he is productive. He's very close to 5. I feel like I wanted to pick Jay Higgins instead of him. But yeah, he is a very productive guy. I felt that. But like you said, I think that's the one thing about linebackers is that when your team is not good, you can shine more than anybody else.
You can because you can freelance and clean up other people's mistakes. So it looks like the guy just got through the line of scrimmage with untouched. It looked like you made a big play when really the guy in front, you're just cleaning up for the other guy in front of you.
Yeah.
You kind of, I'm not going to say you got lucky, but really if play breaks down the way it should, you shouldn't have been nowhere near that play. Again, his production is there. He's got good size. He's 6 foot, 225, and he's very productive. But he is on a team where he's one of the few guys that actually makes some plays on defense. It's like when you look at offensive numbers. Sometimes guys will put up offensive numbers because they're the only guy there, and someone has to get the numbers. Ecos could be the same way. It could be where he's getting a lot of tackles because no one else is tackling anybody. You know what I mean? So I get it.
All right, let's get to my number 3. My number 3 is going to be Danny Stokesman from Oklahoma, a 6'4", 241-pound linebacker. He's actually going to be a senior this year. The 2 years prior to that, he had 124 in 2022 and 104 last year tackles. In both of those years, he had 3 sacks. Last year, he had 2 forced fumbles in the first fumble recovery. And then 2002, he had an interception 2 interceptions. Last year, he had 1 interception. One of them went for a touchdown. Fumble return was a touchdown. But the very productive linebacker, that's a little bit of everything for his defense. Very tall, rangy guy, so he can get a lot of pass deflections as well when they're passing down the middle. I seen him during the BYU game where he forced a fumble and got the fumble recovery for a touchdown. So, very productive guy, Ray. Want to know what's your thoughts on him?
I have him higher than you, so I love the kid. I think he's a guy that could be a 3-down inside linebacker.
Yeah.
He's got, like you said, 3 sacks, 16 TFLs. So that's 19, 20 players behind the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. He's 6'4", nice long arms, 240. He can drop in cover. He really can do a little bit of everything. I have him higher than you, so I love the kid.
Okay. Yeah, really good, man. Very productive. There's 2 other guys that I like just slightly better, but man, he's very productive. I think he's going to be a guy that goes to the NFL and plays very well for you, for sure.
I think he's a 3-down linebacker. I think he can actually come in, and if he were to knock his weight down to because he don't have sloppy weight, but you can see where he could lose 5 or 10 pounds and maybe gain a little bit of mobility. Mm-hmm. And I think if he does that, man, he's a stud. I really think he could be a 3-down linebacker in the NFL, and that's really hard to come by right now.
100%. All right, let's get to your number 2, right? Who you got?
I have Harold Perkins from LSU, another kid who's really productive, 13 TFLs, 75 tackles, can drop into coverage, play some slot, almost like a 3rd corner or 4th corner for LSU's defense. Very athletic. Again, and do everything. Only 220, so he's not. He's going to be outside somewhere, and 4 sacks. So he gets in the backfield. I do worry about him being a little bit small though, but I love his production. I love the size. I love his range. I love the fact that, again, just because he's not in the backfield, which he was in the backfield for 17 plays behind the line of scrimmage. But you saw him play some tight end. You saw him play in the slot and play bigger, slower receivers. So, again, a versatile kid who could be a 3-down linebacker. Obviously, he is right now at LSU, but most of these guys probably play 2 or 3 downs in college. Correct. The question is, can they do that in the NFL? And I think this kid has a shot to do it.
Definitely. Yeah, my number 2 guy is going to be Barry Carter from Clemson. Barry Carter, a 6'1" player, 230 pounds. Last 2 seasons was very productive. He had 73 tackles 2022. 2023, he's going to have he had 62 tackles. 2022, he had 5.5 sacks. 2023, he had 3.5, and then 2 forced fumbles in 2022, and he has a total of 3 interceptions in his career. 2 of them coming in 2022, 1 last year. Very productive safety man. Safety linebacker. Very fluent in what he does. Played on the side of Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I think with Jeremiah Trotter Jr. not being there, it's not already allowed him to take that role and be that number one, linebacker in the middle for Clemson. Very athletic. Obviously, he played in Georgia, Swanee, which is not too far from where I'm from. So a little bias in there, a little slight Georgia bias. By the way, Ray, when there's a Georgia player that's doing well, you hear about it in Georgia. So this is a guy that I've seen and heard about him, and I wouldn't put him on the list just because he's from Georgia, but I get to see and hear about him and hear of him a lot more with being in Georgia and how they cover Georgia down here. You get highlighted on Georgia players a lot more, obviously. So I got a lot more exposure of Derek Carter, but very productive guy. I think he's going to do really well. What's your thoughts on him, though?
I'm a Derek Carter fan. I think he's more of an edge guy, outside linebacker. I think he can be productive.
Like him inside though, right? Any?
They play a different front there, they do, but I see him playing weak side linebacker also. Mm-hmm. But he's productive and he's a good player. Again, he's another he could be I could have had him in my top 5. I could have squeezed him in there somewhere. And in some of the lists I have him at 2 or 3. Yeah. But production was not quite as good as some of the other guys I mentioned. But like you said, it could be a case where with Trotter not being there, he gets some of that production, and maybe he's more productive than half these guys I named. It's possible.
100%. We'll see though, because they also got Sammy Brown, and they really high on Sammy Brown. So
I'm a fan. So we'll see.
Definitely. All right. Also, and then Ray, I'm pretty sure I know who your number 1 is. Who's my number 3?
Yes. Yeah. My number 1 is Danny Stutzman from Oklahoma. Yeah. Again, productive, big, rangy. I really, truly think if he sheds a little bit of fat, this kid could be a 3-down linebacker in the NFL. Plays in a 4-2-5, which I'm not always crazy about that, because sometimes when you play in a 4-2-5, again, you get production you probably shouldn't be getting because you're one of only 2 linebackers on the field. You know what I mean? But a good player for a fairly good defense. Oklahoma's defense has been okay. Yeah. But I just like his size. I like his athleticism. The production is there. I'm a fan, so.
Yeah, I agree. I did have him in my top 5. I have him at 3. I do agree that he's a really good linebacker as well, Ray. For all the reasons that you said as well. So yeah, I like him a lot for sure. My number 1 guy is going to be Harold Jordan Ray, which you had at number 2, I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah, very productive guy going to senior year. Like I said, Ray, 74 tackles, 5.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and interception. I think he just had the most production as a linebacker. Not trying to say that any of the other ones didn't, but as far as stat wise and making an impact on the defense, I just feel like he was more impactful linebacker than everybody else. That's why I have him at my number 1 instead of anybody else, because I just think that he was the most impactful guy. I feel like he's going to be one of those guys that get drafted and we're really fairly early, 2nd round, 3rd round maybe. He's having a lot of production in the league, so that's why I have him there.
Of course, I had him at 2, but again, I think that he's a kid. He could play. He does a little bit of everything for the team, and of course, I don't like LSU, but it is what it is, and he's a good player though, and we'll see.
Why don't you like? Why do you don't like LSU? Why don't you like LSU?
I have a beef with their coach. Okay, I'll leave it at that.
If you guys have not been watching our podcast, he is not a fan of their coach for a lot of reasons. Yeah, get the hat down. Yeah.
There you go.
All right, let's get to our rising stars. So that was our top 5 guys. If you haven't seen it or you can always go back to our YouTube channel and watch it on the replay. But let's get to our rising LBs, Ray. I think you said you had a couple. I have 2.
two of them. One is like a small school kid, and it's Tyreek Powell from Rutgers. 52 total tackles last year, so he needs to be more productive than that. But I like his size. He's 6'5", 240. The problem with Rutgers is they play good defense, but they don't play like there's nobody on their defensive line is like impactful in pass rusher. So this guy, they're all run stoppers. So he's really just cleaning up very little. And I'm a fan of Tyreek Powell. Again, I think he's going to be a good player. Only played in 8 games last year, so figure he another 20, 30 tackles if he plays the whole season. So, I mean, and here's the stat you got to need to know. They were a good team until he got hurt, and then they lost 4 out of the last 5 games. Yeah. So that's how good a player he is for the defense. So, and my other one is Jayshon Barham from Michigan, who's a transfer from Maryland. Again, I think Michigan's going to need linebacker help this year, and I think this is a kid who can make a stand and make him turn himself into a day 2 prospect, maybe early day 3 if nothing else. I knew you would like that for him, so.
I had him in my running start as well.
So. Again, good productive player at Maryland, playing on a better defense with better coaching staff, I believe. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Had some production very early on in his career. Ray, I'm glad you said that and not me just sounding like a biased Michigan fan. So I'm glad you said it for me. That's why I was like, yes, I'm happy you said it. But yeah, good production over there in Maryland. 6'4", 233 pounds. Had a couple of sacks the last couple of years. Had his first interception last year. And the numbers. You look at the numbers, it's like, but he's very productive. He's very, very productive on the field.
Again, it's a situation where he played in a odd and even man front. So they asked him to come back and to the line of scrimmage and stop the run. And then sometimes they would ask him to turn and drop into coverage if they would flex out a tight end or a running back would run out of the backfield to go to catch a pass. So he's a productive player on a fairly good. The problem, Maryland's defense was not very good.
Yeah.
But this kid made plays on a defense that wasn't very good. Again, I think with better coaching and a better defense, you're going to see the light go on. He's going to be a better player.
Agreed. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see how he does on Michigan. Like you said, we are going to need some guys. We lost a couple of guys in the NFL to the NFL this year, so we want to definitely re-up on that. So I think that was a great transfer. I'm glad that you said it before me again, Ray, because I didn't want to be biased. So that was one of them. And another guy, we actually just talked about him, Sammy Brown, coming straight out of high school, going to Clemson. I heard a lot of great things about Sammy Brown as far as being a true freshman linebacker for them. They really do like him, man. And I got to see him a couple of times. He played at Jefferson High School, which is down here in Georgia. And they played the mess out of him. He played linebacker, and then they put him on offense, play running back. So they utilized him. They made sure they had him on the field at all aspects of the game, And last year, Jefferson actually went to the one of the playoff games, and I actually said it to in our first and foremost podcast last year. I thought they was playing him too much, and it seemed like they did in the playoff game. He got a little banged up at the end of the game, and they wound up losing the game. But as a linebacker, man, he was a tough guy. Had some speed on him, good vision to go over there. Tackling was really good. So I think he's a rising star, even though he hasn't played in college yet. But from looking at, I got a lot of guys that are in Clemson and cover Clemson. So just looking at what I'm hearing from them, looking at some of the spring games I've seen, and being able to see what he did at Jefferson, I think they got a star over there in Clemson for sure.
I agree. I mean, he was being recruited by most ACC teams, a lot of Big Ten teams, some SEC teams, and you could see the instincts with the kid, even coming out of high school, and good size, good range. and he's already penciled in as a starting middle linebacker at Clemson. So
Yeah.
he's going to be. They're expecting big things from him for sure.
Correct. No, 100%. It was funny actually seeing him at my old job one time, and I did. My old job was doing photography for high school kids. So he was graduating last year, and he was taking senior photos, and everybody was like taking photos of him, but like they can sense that he had some kind of stardom to him. And I was like, "Yo, Sammy, what's going on?" And then his mom was looking at me like, "Oh shoot, like, here we go." And I just was nice, like, "Hey man, just wanted to introduce myself. I have my football company, so I do cover you and things like that." But yeah, it was just funny to see him at my old job, and he was very humble. He was a very humble kid, so seemed like a good kid. I would love to see him actually on the field, and they actually been interviewing him on the Clemson website, and he talks very, very well. Talks very well and very confident and stuff. So I want to see. I definitely want to see how he does on the field, man. But yeah, that's gonna be my rising star for this year as well. So yeah. All right.
Plus, he's like you say, he's 6'2", 235.
Yeah.
Good, solid kid. And I think he's gonna be very good. So.
Oh, that was the other thing too. When he was on my job, people didn't realize how people was like, dude, he's huge. They was like, where he? They was like, you can tell he did something, and you can tell like everybody's like, what did he do? And I was like, dude, he's like number one linebacker in the country right now. Like, so he's a big guy. I shook his hand. He had a real strong grip on his hand. Like, geez, like
basically he's a top. Depending on what website you go to, he's a top 30 or 40 college football player right now. So
yeah, that's crazy. And didn't play a game.
Yeah. So again, he looks good. We'll see. Clemson's defense is not great. They were better last year, and hopefully they can build on that.
100%. But yeah, having Barrett and him on the field, I think he's gonna have some good linebackers for sure.
Yeah.
All right, we got our first comment right here. He said, "Which college do you think Ice Willow come?" Okay. Thanks, guys. Anyway, if you want to put your comment here, please put your comment here. Let's be good, guys. Let's be good. All right. Anyway, let's get to some college football. The game. How do you call it? The EA college. EA Sports College Football 2025. So right, me and you kind of talked about it. We already talked on before, but you don't really play any video games and anything like that, right?
I do not play video games.
Okay, so this is for the people that are very excited about this game, which comes out in about 2 weeks. And hey guys, I just want to say this before too. This is not a sponsor. We're not sponsored by these guys, but we just want to spread some light on some of the things that they are putting out right now. But as of right now, and Ray already see this, they put out their top 10 offense, defense, and total team overall here. So I just wanted to see what you thought about some of these, Ray. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. There we go. So, the top 10 offenses in this game. So number 1, we got Georgia with a 94 overall. Number 2, we got Oregon with another 94 overall. Alabama 91 overall. Texas got a 91. Oklahoma with an 89. LSU with an 89.
That's Ohio State.
What happened?
Number 5, you said Oklahoma. Number 5 is Ohio State.
See, I don't like Ohio State that much. Ohio State, number 5.
Yeah, but you can't it's not like you can't do what Michigan's done and delete it from the conference, okay? Like you can't do that.
Darn. Number 6 is LSU, sorry. Number 7 is Miami with an 89. Colorado with an 89. Missouri with an 89, and Clemson with an 87. So great. What's your thought on the top 10 right here as far as how EA Sports thinks the offense will be?
I think that I don't have a problem with the top 5. I don't have a problem with LSU either, but I do wonder how they're going to replace the quarterback they had last year because he was very good.
Yeah.
I think Colorado would be better than that, to be honest with you.
Really?
I do. I think Colorado's offense is going to be better than that. I
Okay.
think that Deion Sanders is playing for two things this year: to prove that his team is the team, or to prove that he should be coaching at a bigger program, or maybe in the NFL.
I'm gonna throw a third one in there. If he wants to prove that his son is a first overall pick.
Correct. He wants to put up numbers for his son. So a top 15, 10, 15 is okay, but a top 5 would speak volumes for where his son will get drafted.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I know people should be thinking that way, but yeah, man, let's face it. People don't think about football and necessarily think about winning first anymore. They think about dollars and cents.
100%.
Okay, and I don't care who. I wish it was more about winning, but it's not. So I don't want to be I am a dinosaur. I get it, but I don't want to be completely fossilized about it. I mean, I understand these guys are all in this game to play to make money, all of them, and Deion's making money. He's going to try to make money for him and his son this year, I believe.
100%. If it ain't making dollars, it ain't making sense.
Correct. I think Penn State is right where they should be. If they had a better coach, they'd be a little bit higher.
I know you had to throw that one out there, right? Ray's actually looking at the top 25. Actually, I can even show you guys that real quick. Let's see. So here is this is their actual website, but it is right here. So this is the rest of the right here. I'm not gonna read them all off to you guys. You can go to their website and everything like that, and you can go in there. Real quick though, I do want to it is a little kind of small on the screen. I apologize for that. But you can't see anything.
I can't read any of them.
Yeah, it's very small. So I'm just gonna go back to the other one real quick. But I will say this is as far as the top 10. Sorry, guys.
Well, I have the list here though.
Yeah, the list. Yeah. So as far as the top 10, I agree that Colorado should be a little higher, but I would probably only put them high at Miami. I honestly think Texas is better than Dave Sherman as well. Really good quarterback, really good three good running backs over there in Texas. I will pick Texas maybe 3 instead of Alabama. I'll probably split those two. Their overalls are exactly the same, so I'm guessing they just kind of like pick 1 at 3 and 1 at 4 just because.
I do think Alabama's offense is going to be more explosive than it's been. I do.
I got to see how the offensive line plays.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I do want to preface that by saying I do want to see it on the field first. But I like the coach. I like how innovative he is. I think that quarterback's playing to be a high draft pick.
Correct. Yeah. No, I agree. Ohio State, man, at 5, kind of. I mean, again, maybe this is just me being biased, but a brand new quarterback. You had one of the best receivers that came out of Ohio State League as well. So you got a question mark quarterback. You got question marks at wide receiver. Even though you still have they're really good receivers. I are really raved about some of the receivers. We were talking about receivers the other week, but they also haven't hit it on the field yet, so we'll see how that goes. When you have that and a quarterback that you're not that just transferred in and you're not sure about, that's when I question. I'm okay with Georgia because they have probably the most stable. They're probably the most stable wide receiver. Quarterback outside of Texas, and that's why I want to pick Texas in there too because we already know what Ewers can do. If Ewers go down, we still have Manning as well. So I I don't know. The talent is there. You got a really good running back too. They just got a good transfer in their running back as well. Offensive line is solid. So I'll give them that, but it's just still kind of a depending on 5. And I mean, you can say the same thing about LSU too. So I guess I know a lot of people gonna have issues with Clemson being at 10, with my boy Peyton Klubnik. I think he's gonna have a bounce that year. But he has been struggling, so I can see why people kind of like hunt about number 10. I get that. It is a little high for them. I will also say there's no Michigan at 25. And yes, I'm a little biased with it. I get it, but they got who was the team Ray we were talking about? Virginia Tech. They got Virginia Tech at 25. Do we really think Virginia Tech offense is better than Michigan, even with all the changes? Do we really think that? And maybe they don't know the players enough to be like, oh yeah, they're that good. I don't know, but they did put Donovan Edwards as their cover art guy, so they know something about Michigan. It's not like they just when everybody's like, who's Donovan Edwards? They put him as the cover art player. So they know about. I don't know. Maybe it's me being biased. I don't know, but we did talk about that a little bit, right?
My question is, what are we gonna do when you talk about defense?
Yeah. Let's get to the defense now, real quick.
Who's number 1 on defense?
Who's the number 1, or what's the number 1?
Yeah, look at what team's at number 1 on defense.
What team?
Look at what team is number 1 on defense.
Oh, yes. I say, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, these people are forgetting that Ohio State, they're a talented team.
Correct.
They haven't won a big game in 2 years.
Yeah. And their defense was garbage last year.
Their defense was not very good last year. That's correct.
Yeah.
Now they're number 1?
Yeah.
Wait, are they bringing one of the Bosa brothers back?
Right?
I mean, again, I'm not going to badmouth Ohio State because I know they're a talented roster. I'm not stupid. I'm not crazy about their coach. Like I used to think their coach is pretty good. I'm not so sure about that anymore.
Also,
this is a big year for him and his team, so we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's because they got Caleb Downs that just came in. Obviously,
I love Caleb Downs too, man.
Don't get me wrong, they got some talent back there.
They do, but they lost some talent. We'll see what happens, man. Again, I think the coach has a lot to prove this year, without a doubt.
Okay. So I'm going to read it off to you guys. We already talked about the Ohio State defense being number 1. But number 2, we got Georgia. Number 3, we got Oregon. Number 4, we got Alabama. Number 5, we got Clemson. We kind of discussed this already, Ray, with Clemson. So I'm curious what you thought about them being number 5. Number 6, we got Notre Dame. Number 7, we got Michigan. Number 8, we got Texas. 9, we got Penn State. And number 10, we got Utah. So what's your overall thoughts on this, Rick?
I don't mind the list. Oregon was a decent defense last year.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Georgia's usually very good. Ohio State has talented defensive players. Their backfield is going to be really good. So I think they're going to be good. Clemson and Notre Dame are teams I'm not sure they belong in the top, that close to the top 5. Notre Dame is a talented team. They didn't play consistent defense last year. I still need them to do it before I can put them in as a top 10 defensive team. Clemson on paper the last couple of years have looked good, but they've not played well against good teams.
Get out of here, Chris.
Yeah, we already know what you think, Chris. What do you think about Ryan Day is what I want to know.
I will say this. I know there's a logjam of 5 teams with 90 overalls between 9 and 7. There's a 5-team overall logjam with 90 overalls there. So I guess again, like last time, they might have just kind of placed them anywhere. I think that Michigan should be at 5 or 4.
What I want to know is how can Penn State have teams, like basically the top 10 in both categories, but still finish no higher than 15 probably.
Yeah. I don't know. But my point of Michigan, Alabama had a lot of transfers that came out. Clemson had a lot of players that left for the NFL. Don't get me wrong. I still think Clemson is a really good defense. Notre Dame might be. I actually might not Notre Dame higher as well over Michigan and Alabama and Clemson. And Michigan got three of the best ranked players in the country on defense. Yet we're number 7. That was interesting.
You think you should be ranked lower?
In number wise, yeah, I think it should be.
You think Michigan should be ranked lower than 7?
Yeah, I think it should be like 5 or 4, somewhere around there.
Okay.
At least.
Yeah. Either he wins it all or he gets fired. I don't know if he has to win it all. I think he has to get very close and he can't lose to Michigan again.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, if Ohio State loses to Michigan on a year that
loses to Michigan again, it's over for him.
Yeah.
No, if he loses to Michigan again, it's over.
Yeah.
But if he beats Michigan and say he goes to the championship game or the quarterfinals, he probably won't get fired as long as he wins the conference.
Yeah. Definitely.
I mean, we know like Michigan.
Because we gotta remember, like there's new playoff rules now.
It is. It's a new format, and things are gonna be very different. But that's what I mean. Like, he has to make it to like the top 4 in order not to lose his job, and he can't lose to Michigan. If he loses to Michigan anywhere along the way, he's going to get fired.
Oh yeah, 100%. I agree. So it's very interesting. I do like the list. Let me go through the top 25. I know you guys probably won't be able to see it, so I'm not going to put it on the screen. And I'm not going to read it all. Based on purposes.
I can go through it real quick if you want, Jerome.
Say it again?
I can go through it real quick if you want. I have it pretty clear here.
Go ahead.
Well, you want me to start at 1 or start at 10?
Start at 11.
11 is Florida State. 12 is Oklahoma. Now, both of them teams have an 88 rating. Iowa has an 88 rating. Virginia Tech is 86. Wisconsin is 86. USC is an 86. Auburn is an 86. LSU is an 84. Texas A&M is an 84. Colorado is an 84. Oklahoma State is an 84. Louisville is an 84. North Carolina is an 84. And Kansas State is an 84. I think North Carolina is not a top 25 defensive team. I think Colorado will be maybe closer to 20 than 25.
They're not yet. Yeah, they're not there yet. Based on last year, there's going to be way too many points. Even USC being at 16 at 86, that's high for me too, right? They was giving up way too many points there. They lost a lot of recruits this year as well. A couple of transfers out. Their defense is getting worse, actually. I don't think they're better than last year. I think they're actually getting worse. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. Again, all these ratings are pre-season ratings, so they will change them throughout the season. So I actually would love to kind of revisit it at some point next year, let everybody see the differences. But yeah, I agree with Colorado, USC, really weak defenses. USC as well. UNC. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they kind of basing off some of these ratings. Very interesting to see how you go. I think Texas 8 is a little low. I like their defense a little bit more than most people.
I mean, here's the thing though, Jerome. They're very close.
Yeah.
Like, what is the difference between an 88 and a 90?
Yeah, it's not that much.
You have 3 teams at 88 and 5 teams at 90. So how much of a difference really is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at like Notre Dame. Notre Dame is supposedly 6th, but in offense they were like 16th, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, Chris, if you're still here, do me a favor. Can you tell me what is it about Ohio State's defense that had them at 96? That's high. I know y'all just kept Caleb down, and y'all have that other corner as well, which is named blanking on me. But can you kind of explain to us what it is about your defense that makes it a 96, especially over Georgia, who always replenish their talent every year? Just I'm being very serious in general.
You know what? I can tell you what it is right now, Jerome. 7 starting seniors.
7?
7 starting seniors. I'm looking at their roster right here. All of their defensive linemen are seniors.
Yeah.
One of their linebackers, but they play a 4-2-5. So and then 1, 2, 3, 4 of their starting secondary players are all seniors also. So they're looking at, they think they're going to be good because they're experienced.
Okay, that might be it then.
I mean, I'm looking at their roster, they're all pretty highly rated players, though, dude. Their defensive line, Jack Sawyer is really good. Kyle Hamilton has been sloppy but productive. Malik Williams is a senior and is a good run stop player. And I hate to play JT, the other defensive end. The second half of last year really started to turn it on. I see why they think they're going to be good now, looking at the depth my question is, and even they have a couple of seniors as backups too, so that's why they look at an experienced team with decent players, and they're looking at an inexperienced Michigan team now, and a Penn State team that underachieves.
Yeah.
So I mean, really, Penn State is the one roster that's talented enough to compete with Michigan and Ohio State, but they just never do.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, right? So, all right. Well,
I just want to go and look at their roster and see, because I knew Sawyer, I knew Hamilton. I forgot about JT because last year, the first half of the season, he didn't play well. But I remember after the second half, he kind of turned it on. Their linebackers are just okay, but they only play 2 of them anyway.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it don't matter.
Gotcha. Yeah,
they're a veteran team, and I think that's where they're optimistic.
Gotcha. Okay. I would love to do a comparison, and we'll actually do all this ourselves once we get done
and the one young guy they have that you said already is Caleb Downs, and we know he's going to be really good. So they're looking at a defensive. Chris is right. Their defense looks like it should be really good. Now, will they get help from their offense? That was the other thing. They didn't get a lot of help from their offense last year. When they scored, it was off of big passing plays to the wide receiver, or they didn't score, and then they were out there 3 and out, and that's never good for a defense.
100%. Yeah, I agree. So yeah, the offense didn't help the defense at all. You're right about that, but we'll see. We'll definitely see. I'm very curious, and we'll get into that as well. I do want to do the power rankings real quick before we get off, because we're running into almost an hour now. I don't like to be on too long for you guys, but power rankings are right here as well. So this is overall, this is the offense and defense put together, and these are the power rankings. So these are the top 5 right here. You got Georgia number 1, which I don't think anybody has a prior to that. Ohio State number 2, Oregon's number 3, Alabama's number 4, Texas number 5, Clemson number 6, Notre Dame number 7, LSU number 8, Penn State number 9, and Utah at number 10. Ray, what do you think about this one?
I think Notre Dame will be a better team than Penn State and Utah by the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
anyone there? I mean, I could pick and choose. But I think Penn State and Utah, if my coach is the right guy, will be a better team by season end. By at least definitely Utah.
Yeah.
But and Penn State too. I mean, because if he can't beat. If you're not a top 10, to me, I know top 4. If you're not a top 10 team, dude, I don't think you should make the playoffs. But that's another subject for another day.
No, I agree. Yeah, I think that This portion of it is pretty good. I kind of agree with most of it. I will say I'm still having Alabama at 4. Kind of. I don't like having Alabama over Texas. I'm sorry. Just for me, I think Texas is a better team. But we'll definitely see. Let me see where I have it. Oh, I don't have the 21 right now, so I've used it. But I think the Texans and Alabama have that same overall, so it could be that same situation, right? Um, where you kind of play them. But I think Texas is better than Alabama right now, right? And we'll definitely see that with them being in the same conference now. So it's gonna be interesting to see. Oregon,
Also about that, Jerome, Texas has played Alabama very well the last 2 times they played.
yep, agree. And again, Alabama lost a lot of pieces, man.
I think that, but they've got some transfer because of the new coach, and I think people are still looking at them as their Alabama. And I mean, until Alabama craps the bed, people are never going to believe they're not going to be that team right now.
100%. No, I agree. So they're gonna give them a benefit of the doubt until they prove otherwise. I think it's gonna be I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think Alabama's gonna fall off the face of the map. Like let's just get that clear. I don't want to make it seem like that or make anybody feel like that. But Alabama be at the top 5 in all 3 categories. I think they're going to struggle a little bit. They struggled last year, and it had mistakes. They struggled in the beginning of the season last year. They're squeaking out some of those wins, and then at the end of the year they started getting hot and that kind of deal. So they got hot.
That's the thing, Jerome. One of them wins they stuck out was against Texas.
Yeah.
So that's like, and the year before they beat Texas 20-19.
Yeah.
They've been playing very competitive games. But Alabama's still been winning by the skin of their teeth, and until Texas goes in there and knocks them off,
No, I hear you. I definitely hear you. So, we'll see, man. Utah at number 10 is actually a surprise for me. I'm very high on Utah, as you guys know.
I am too. I just think that Notre Dame is a little. I think our quarterback is going to be better this year. I know I thought that last year. But I think that it's going to be better this year. I think that our defense is good. I don't know if it's top 5 good or if it's top 10 good, but I think it's good. And I think the offense with Riley Leonard will be better where we're not stalling at midfield or turning the ball over like Sam Hartman did last year.
100%.
I mean, again, I need – here's the thing. I say that, but if this kid comes in and does the same things, like he regresses, and then I go look at the coaching staff. And that's another question. Hopefully, I don't have to worry about that question.
Yeah, I agree. So, just wanted to put that out there for you guys. Real quick before we do end, I do want to say this as well. That is only the top 10, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams in the same overall, and I'll read them off to you guys. Yep. Take it how you want it. Yeah. Utah 88, Michigan at 11 at 88. Florida State at 12 at 88, Miami at 13 at 88, Texas A&M at 88 at 14, and at 15 is Ole Miss for 88. So,
see, I mean, Miami is in the same boat as some other teams. They got to see what they do at quarterback this year.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So we'll see how that works out and how that happens, but. That's going to do it for us today, guys. We do appreciate each and every one of you guys for getting on. Again, like I always say, thank you for all the support. And if you want to follow us on our social media, please do so. We got the QR code right next to me, and we have the QR code right under the Ray right under there. You can scan that code and follow us on all our social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We got 10,000 followers on Twitter. Help us get the same thing on Instagram. Go on YouTube, and that's where you can find this podcast and many other podcasts. And if you like to subscribe to us, that really does help us at the end of the day. And we want to give a special thanks to our sponsor again, Phenom. Make sure you go get your gloves and your cleats from them. Nice gloves, nice cleats that you can get from them. Mouthpieces like we have right here. And like I said before, our promo code ITH football gets 10% off. Save you some money. Go into the season looking nice, clean, with everything. And, we look forward to seeing y'all guys on the field, man. And maybe we'll be talking about you guys in the future, for sure, for sure. So thanks again, Phenom, for sponsoring this podcast. I'm your host, Jerome Jones. I'm here with my guy, Ray Roberts. Thank you, Ray, for getting on with us, man. And as always, next week we'll be doing DBs. Last words from you, Ray. Last words, real quick.
Just looking forward to the season. We're only a couple months away now, so let's get going. I'm ready to go, man. This is like
this is the worst part of football right now. It's like
it is. I mean, and again, like I said, I think I said last week, there's really nothing that you can do with college. I mean, right now, nothing going on. Nothing. Where the NFL, you do hear this and hear that. So you kind of just fight to hear anything you can right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and stuff like that, because not really much other things we can do right now. So, like I said, next week we'll be doing DB. The following week after that, that's where we're going to be doing our team breakdown. So that's why I was saying too, right? We'll get into that because we'll do team breakdowns, go into each team, look at players that we think is going to be doing good, and how we think teams are going to kind of fare. So we did the same thing last year. I think it was a good hit. So we're going to do that again this offseason until the season starts, for sure. So thank you guys again. Once again, this is Jerome Jones. Got Ray Roberts right over here. Thank you guys once again. We'll see you next time, and you have a good 4th of July, which is tomorrow. So,
it is.
Okay, eat some food. Save some food for your boys. Yeah. And we appreciate each and one of you guys. So, have a good one. Stay safe out there. Happy 4th to everybody. Peace.